Oh, I would have been so ticked off. You would have heard me scream my lungs out during the stream. Now, obviously, in the end, we would have known how this all turned out. But according to Jeff Hobson of Bengals.com, the Bengals were considering taking Eric All in the third round over Jermaine Burton. That's right. They are apparently super high on Eric All. And I didn't realize how high they were on Eric All. You know, when he got drafted in the fourth round, I think the general consensus, and even in my draft video or live stream, was like, oh, wow, okay, maybe a little bit early to take Eric All. Thought you could get him in the fifth round. You know, everyone was kind of consensusly saying, like, all right, maybe this guy could be a fifth round pick. You know, probably not a third round pick, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, they took a guy a tad bit early. No. They were considering him in the third round. And there's a chance they could have taken him over Jermaine Burton. Which, again, looking back and learning more about Jermaine Burton now, really looking into how good of a receiver he is, and how excited I am to actually, you know, be able to have him on our squad moving forward, man, I would have been so ticked off. Because especially how it all works out in the end, getting Eric All in the fourth, I don't know. It's a crazy narrative. But yeah, they got him at 115. But they were considering taking him in the third round. They were talking about All as early as pick 80. This draft was a interesting draft. And again, it was a draft I feel like that was different than any other draft we ever had. They kind of went away from their typical, you know, draft strategy, I would say, when it comes to this draft. And I'm happy how it turned out, right, in the end. But again, if we would have taken him in the third round, I get it, Eric All is, again, is he the tight end in the future? We don't know, right? At the end of the day, potentially he could be that guy who ends up working out for us, and he ends up becoming the best player possible. But at the end of the day, again, we don't know how he's going to pan out. And again, you know, that's part of football, right? That's part of how things look. And there isn't much on his PFF profile, although his game could use a bit more nastiness. His player is a versatile skill set, contributing skill set, who projects as a tight end 2 at the next level if he can stay healthy. I hate to hear the term if he can stay healthy, because what that shows me is this is going to be a problem for the future. If he has any injury concerns. His last 3 years in college, played 7 games, played 3 games, played 13 games, 299 yards in 2023, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns in 2022, but he only played 3 games. 36 yards, and then his 2021 season, 437 yards and 2 touchdowns. And again, listen, at the end of the day, I think he'll be a fine tight end for us, right? To say he'll be the tight end in the future, we don't know, right? At the end of the day, we can assume things, we can, you know, predict things of how this is all going to work out and how this is all going to go. But at the end of the day, we don't know, right? And obviously he played, 3 years at Michigan, 4 years at Michigan, and 1 year at Iowa. So he transferred to Iowa. Obviously, Iowa was his best year. Well, second best year, actually. His best year was in Michigan, but, only played 1 full season, actually, in college. It's just, I don't know. When you compare him to Jermaine Burton, when you compare him to the fact he's a 4th round pick, cool, right? Who cares, right? At the end of the day, 4th round pick, not as much draft capital, and hopefully he works out. Hopefully he is a starting tight end, and, he's tight end in the future, right? But it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm, too much hoping or going into the fact that we almost took him over him. That really kind of irks me. Because, again, I just feel like, in general, a lot of the consensus was that we took him early. We took him, he could have been in the 5th round. And he ended up potentially going in the 3rd round. Now, I think what really got the Bengals kind of on their, like, whoa, something's going on here, was right around when he got picked. Not when he got picked, but right before he got picked, there was, like, a run on tight ends. And I think that kind of did, spark some talk or some interest, right, in us taking a tight end. Because you had Jatavian Sanders, who went with the first pick of the 3rd round, or 4th round, sorry. You had Theo Johnson, who went, right? So you got 2 tight ends there. And then we went Eric All. But go back to the 3rd round here. And I think, we had Tip Riemann go. Is that it? Actually, only 1 tight end in the 3rd round? Wow. I think the 2nd round we had the most tight ends then, right? No, we didn't. Okay, so... yeah, so there was no tight ends other than Brock Bowers, obviously. Drafted until the end of the 3rd. And that's when the little bit... I guess you call it a little bit of run. And I don't say too much of a run. But a little bit of a tight end run. You had Tip Riemann got drafted. And then after that, you had round 4. Where then you had another tight end. So that 2nd tight end off the board. Yeah, technically. 2nd tight end since Brock Bowers. 3rd tight end off the board, right? So now there's 3 tight ends off the board. And now you have 4. And then 5. And then 6. So there was a tight end run. I mean, 6 tight ends, 7 tight ends total get drafted by the end of the 4th round. So maybe that's kind of what sparked it a little bit. Was like, hey, listen, things are getting going. Let's go ahead and take this guy. I just would have been so... like, if we got him in the 4th round, 115, I'm looking at it as a good pick. And I said it before. I think it's a solid pick. It's a pick I wasn't expecting. But it was a good pick. It was solid pick. Do I love the pick? Yes, I think it's to be a good tight end for the future. But, I don't think it's like craziest pick possible, right? It's not a Chris Jenkins pick. And funny, because the 2nd best pick, in my opinion, right, outside of, it's Chris Jenkins, and then it's Jermaine Burton. Then it's Demarius Mims. This is the 2nd best pick, and I think, honestly, this is the best pick you can even argue is the best pick. And a lot of different analysts are saying this is the best pick, because if we go down here, right, and I posted this, and God, I did not mean to post this twice. My bad on that one. But anyway, though, I posted a lot of these twice, my bad. Because sometimes my computer glitches. This one. Most important pick in the NFL draft because Jermaine Burton is a 1st round talent. The most important pick in our draft. Who I arguably say is the 2nd best pick of our draft. We almost didn't take him. Because we were going to take Eric All around early. Thankfully, things did not go the way it could have. Peace out, guys.